Have you ever found yourself rejoicing in somebody else's happiness?
There are greater things to come. If we only knew how deep the ocean of your love, how powerful every drop of blood, how much it costs to rescue us. If we only knew how far the east is from the west, how we are clothed in righteousness, how strong the hands that conquer death. If we only knew. God, your peace is beyond our understanding. Tender mercy like a river flowing through. You wait with patient arms to hold us, desperate for the chance to show us all we really need is you. If we only knew how deep the ocean of your love, how powerful every drop of blood, how much it costs to rescue us. If we only knew how far the east is from the west, how we are clothed in righteousness, how strong the hands that conquer death. If we only knew.
Oh, my friend. Glad to see you made it. For we have gathered here today in the name of Jesus Christ. Glory be to God. He is alive. Isn't that the best news we have heard in a long time? Christ lives. Christ is alive. Rejoicing in somebody else's happiness. I know what it's like. You know what it feels to me. My life and maybe your life. Like each one of us has our own very special bubble. Little world. Little universe. This little bubble. And this bubble goes right around us. Right? And when God's inside of our bubble, we're very happy. We're very happy and rejoiceful, and everything and everybody inside that world, inside that bubble, inside that universe, very, very happy. Yet that bubble is our very own special bubble, and in that bubble, yeah, everybody's happy, but there's only me. Right? And then you got your bubble, and they have their bubble, and their universe, their world, their problems, their successes, their worries, whatever it is. And they're in their little bubble. And I got my little bubble. And everybody's happy who's inside the bubble. But the only one inside the bubble is us. Us and God. And God. I wonder if sometimes that's what we forget in life, right? I've been talking to a friend on MeWe, a newfound friend named Jack. Good to meet you, Jack. I see a lot of good things in Jack. And what I see, the best thing about you is you're the real deal. And what makes you the real deal? You're willing to come outside of that bubble. Come outside of it. You know, I think sometimes in life we're so worried, and worry is a lack of belief. It's a lack of faith, worry. And usually we're worried of an outcome because we're working so hard to achieve that outcome, yet maybe the greatest blessing of all is that we already have everything we need, and really the only thing we ever needed was God. was God. And the gift of God, the gift of life, gift of salvation, God's grace, the gift of forgiveness cannot be earned. Because it's a gift, really all it can do is be received. Be received. It can only be given, and God has already chosen to give it. It's given. But can we receive it? And in receiving it, it's like rejoicing in somebody else's happiness. You know, that's the thing. It was God's good pleasure, God's good fortune, His love that wanted to give to you what you got, whatever it is. Sometimes in life it's hard to see or feel blessed. And what makes us or keeps us from being blessed? Is it our inability to rejoice in somebody else's happiness? Because Jesus says, "Rejoice with me, O daughters of Jerusalem. Why do you weep when the tree is green? How will you act when the tree is all dried up, and dead, unable to bear fruit?" So I wonder, what does that mean? And Jesus saying, all things have been handed over to me, to Jesus, right? All things. Everything, handed it over to Him. And the good news, He being a deliverer, says you were handed over to Him. And He says, rejoice with me. Are we able to rejoice? Somebody else's good fortune. It was His good fortune that received authority, power, glory. Authority, power, and glory over you, over us. I see a lot of times in the Bible, like even with Job, can we rejoice in another person's good fortune? We always are rejoicing in somebody else's folly, right? I mean, when people make millions of dollars on YouTube videos and videos of other people falling and getting hurt. You see in Job, what did it cost Job to have a visit with God? What did that cost him? And kind of like it costed him everything. Lost his family, he's lost all of his money and his property, his animals, his health. And then his friends come and make him feel worse, trying to condemn him for no reason. It wasn't like Job did something wrong. Just bad things came to a good person. Bad things happened to all of us. And you know, I love that part at the end of Job's story where God reveals himself to Job, right? And he's there talking to Job. And he says, you know, Job, your friends, my wrath, my anger really burns against them because they did not speak rightly of me. They didn't represent me well. They blasphemed me. But if you pray for them, Job, you make sacrifice, build me an altar, make sacrifice for them, I will accept your prayer. And it was after Job prayed, after Job made the sacrifice, God accepted Job's prayer and then blessed him double. Even though God was angry, even though they did wrong, the righteous thing to do was to rejoice in their happiness. Job suffered. All to see God face to face. And it wasn't like Job asked for the suffering, it came upon him. And yet, through his suffering, he found God. And blessed are those who believe yet never saw. Job's 3 friends believed that they saw God, they knew God, they had all kinds of knowledge and wisdom about God, yet all of their wisdom and knowledge was ignorance. Ignorance. Everything they said to Job was that God punishes the wicked. God punishes evil. God uses evil to punish the wicked. And yet, God said to Job, bless them. Pray for them. And here they go walking off after condemning Job, misrepresenting God, creating anger in God, and they're off doing their normal life, rejoicing with one another, and thank God we're not like Job, covered in boils, lost everything. And yet they received a blessing. And God saying to Job, rejoice with me. And if you can rejoice with me, I will repay you double. Everything Job lost was repaid to him twice as much. Everything he had in the beginning was given to him through the power of his own hand. My own righteousness, my own work, my own good deeds, my own character, my own integrity provided everything I had in the hopes that God would bless me and keep me blessed. But when God repaid him double, it was God who provided. Job no longer had the need or the desire or whatever it is that comes within a man that needs to create, but then only received. And because he opened himself up to receive, he received double. Rejoicing in somebody else's happiness. What if I loved you? What if I loved you very, very, very much? And I came to you every single morning displaying my love, and I made sure 99.9% of the time I said, good morning, you look so beautiful today. Would you be able to rejoice with me and what I see and what I found? Maybe I see in you a great treasure and that great beauty. Can you receive my honesty? Some people, when you tell them they're beautiful, they laugh, they smile, they giggle. And why do they laugh? Why do they smile? Why do they giggle? Because they don't believe that's true. They don't believe it's true. In fact, maybe some people get upset if you call them beautiful because somewhere they think you're lying. But what if it is the truth? What if what I see in you is the most beautiful thing in the world? And all I want to do is acknowledge that beauty for what it really is. And perhaps only my golden eyes can see it. Because my eyes are sensitive and can see things that nobody else can see. But could you rejoice with me in that? Like, could you receive it? Could you take and grab hold of it and make it your own? That's mine. And what would make it your own? What would give you the motivation to grab onto it, take it, and say, that's mine? Wouldn't you have to believe it's true? Wouldn't you have to believe it's true? I remember Joseph. God gave Joseph a dream. 2 dreams, in fact. Showing and foretelling to Joseph that even though he was the youngest of his family at that time, and he is youngest of 11, Benjamin hadn't come yet. He receives his dream, and his brothers are going to bow and worship him. Gives him good news. All you got to do is receive it, grab hold of it, and make it yours. And you'll be blessed. And he goes and tells his brothers, and they get all upset, and they're angry, and jealous, and envious. Have you ever felt jealous and envious of somebody else receiving a blessing? Receiving happiness, joy, good things. You know, that's like the man, there's this certain man who was on this great journey, and he fell amongst robbers. And the robbers beat him and left him half dead, taking his clothing and everything he had. He's naked, bleeding to death. And a pastor comes along. And he sees the man naked, bleeding to death. Decides to pass across the other side of the road. I don't want to help him. I don't want to take part or be a part of him receiving joy. Perhaps happiness. Like he's unworthy of participating in his happiness, in his joy. He walks off. Pastor, right? Guy who teaches and preaches how to be good, how to be holy, how to know when to do the right thing. Later, there's another man comes, and he's a lawyer. He makes laws. And we know laws are made for the protection and the well-being of all the people they're written for. And that's his job. And he sees the man. And again, doesn't want to share in his happiness. Can't see the man worthy of it. His time, of his rejoicing. I want to rejoice in someone else's happiness. Couldn't find no time for it. Ends up leaving. Then another man comes, lowly in stature, has no identity to speak of, no name to be cared about. There's nothing good really about him. But he finds compassion on the man. Let me rejoice with you in your happiness. Because when you're happy, I'm fulfilled. I'm full. Because it's my sorrow to see another person unhappy, in distress. That leaves me empty. Leaves me wanting. Helps man, tends to his wounds, picks him up, puts him in his own vehicle, using his own money to contribute to another person's happiness. Rejoice with me. Rejoice with me, says the Lord. All of Joseph's brothers, filled with envy, jealousy. Have you ever felt envious of somebody else's happiness? Somebody else's blessing? Have you ever felt jealous? Somebody else's relationship, somebody else's joy and happiness. And then all of a sudden you have the need or the want or the desire to take that away. Rather than engaging in rejoicing. Rejoice with me. Be happy with me. Does that upset us in life? Joseph receives a coat of many colors given to him by his dad, signifying to all the people around, all of his brothers, that Joseph was his father's favorite. It's the one I love the most. It's the one I wish to rejoice with. Rejoice with me. Let's be happy. It's my favorite son. Does that make us upset? And what if we are Joseph? What if we are Joseph? And in a way, although God is very happy to bless us and to rejoice with us, we ourselves are unable to rejoice and be happy with God because we're allowing negativity and negative thoughts and negative people like our Reubens and Judah and Levi and Simeon. Throwing you down the well. Down in the depths of the well is weeping and gnashing of the teeth. It's like being dead. When thieves and robbers come and take everything you have, it feels like you're dead. You know, I know a lot of people in the world, like my friend Jack. I've been in that spot in life where you want to do something great for God, and then you start thinking of all these wonderful things we could be doing for God. And it's not just God, but it's for the least of our community. For the misfits, the downtrodden, the broken and the left behind. And then you come to find out the only people who care are the poor, the broken, the mistreated, left behind. And then we all come and we gather together and wow, man, if we only all had a little bit of money, We could tend to the needs of those who are in need. Create a rec center. People could come and gather together so they can rejoice, enjoy their time. We're always so stuck in work, slavery, like work, work, work. But do we have time to rejoice? Do we have time to laugh? You know, the thought of things, of making a church. I always think the churches of today are take, take, take. That's all they want to do is take, 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 take. And yet, the people who are in need are the people they're taking from, and their needs are never being met. Maybe that's the devil's plan. Keep us broke. Keep us broke. Keep us in a place of poverty, because he knows if we had the money, we would actually make a difference in the world. You know what the difference would be that we would make in the world? We would take away his power. Because everyone who loves money loves the roots of evil. We know the devil's evil. And then when you gather together and we're all talking to one another and trying to figure out how could we tend to each one of our needs. And we're all broken, we're brokenhearted, we're broken in spirit, we're broke in the wallet, got a broken back, I don't know, you're beat down, feeling a little bloody, we're almost dead, right? But there's one thing we all have. We may not have money, might not have the ability to change the world or anybody else's life, but you know what we got that the rest of them don't have? We have God. And he can't be bought. God can't be purchased. And God can't be sold. But we have God. We got God. You know, I think that's the greatest thing I see in my wife, Katu Tenji. We got God. I find great joy waking up with her every day, telling her the truth. I ain't never seen a woman more beautiful than you. She says, thank God. You made me that way because of you. Well, thank you, my love. Receiving it. Love is very hard to receive. One of the reasons it's so hard to receive is because love is the only thing that can be given away. Can't be bought. You can't sell love. Love has to be given away. And you have to want it. You have to want to give it. You can't repay love. All you can do is take it. Hold on to it, make it yours. That's all you can do. And sometimes we forget, even though we're all in our own little bubble, floating around And our bubbles bump into each other once in a while. Inside of our bubble, we have God. We have God. And everything's great inside of our bubble. Because we have everything we need. So when we look outside of our bubble, we see the needs of others. And you know what I think the greatest need in the world today is? Jesus Christ. I need a Jesus Christ in my life. And Jesus says, if you're seeking for me, if you're seeking for the kingdom, if you really need a Jesus in your life, you really don't have to travel all that far. All you gotta do is be able to look into the mirror and see him staring back at you. Because it's all 100% unbelievable. I could tell you every day, first thing in the morning, for lunch, and just before you fall asleep. I swear to God, you're the most beautiful thing I've ever seen on the entire planet Earth. But it has no weight, it has no value until you're able to look into the mirror and say to yourself, today, you are the most beautiful thing that exists on the planet Earth. And when you're able to receive that and believe it as being the truth, I'll tell you what. Jesus Christ believes that you are beautifully and wonderfully made, perfectly in the image of God, worthy of worship, worthy of love, worthy of high esteem. And I know that's true because Jesus right now today, if he had to, if he needed to, he would die for you, just like he already has. Why do you weep, O daughters of Jerusalem? As he's being dragged along the ground, spat on, yelled at, mocked, and ridiculed. He said, you were worth it. You are worth the value. You are worth the price. Because there ain't nothing more beautiful than rescuing those who've been broken down, beaten, left half dead, with absolutely no hope, being loved, cared for, or cherished. Unless God really was who he says he is. He's the one. He's the one who loves you. Are you able to receive it? You'll be able to grab a hold of it, make it yours. Because we know it's true, we know it's evident, we know God has manifested himself in your life when God's so big, when God's reality so big that you're the neighbors next door all of a sudden become a fantasy. Because the reality of God so big that he pops your bubble and you break out of it, reaching out for those who are in distress and say, rejoice with me. Let us be happy together. Let me fulfill your need. God's overflowing grace, love, spirit is way too much for one bubble to handle, one bubble to contain. It is light to be shined, light to be shared. I'd love to be a part of a church where the needs of the people who belong to the church were being taken care of. I would love to rejoice in another person's happiness. I think that's where true happiness is found. True happiness is found when I could say to you, you're the most beautiful person on the planet. And you being able to say, I know. God made me that way because of you. Let us rejoice in that. Let us rejoice in that. By marrying, by falling in love, by saying to yourself, there's one word I want to hear every morning. First, I want to hear the word of him who loves me most. Right? Isn't that the desire of every human's life? When I wake up in the morning, I want to hear the word of the one who loves me most. And Jesus says, good morning, my beautiful, beloved wife. I am your husband. I am your God. I am your father. I am your friend. I am the word you hear first every morning when you wake up. Will you receive it? Will you receive it? You know when you're receiving it? You know when you're receiving it? You know when you're grabbing hold of it and making it yours? When you say to yourself every night before you go to bed, I look forward to waking up, hearing the voice of my Lord. A good husband, a good father, a good dad, it's going to be likened to Jesus Christ, as Jesus is the head of the church, and The church is his wife. The church. Church is the gathering. Wherever two or more have gathered together in the name of Jesus, that's the church. And if they agree on anything, it will be done for them. Whatever it is. Because that's the will of God. That we would gather together through his Spirit to take care of the needs of all. If we all had that same like mind, same spirit, like a husband who loves his wife as though he's loving his own body. When my wife, Katu, is sad, I am sad. When my wife, Katu, is happy, I am extremely happy. And when she's laughing, well, that's when I know salvation is about to manifest itself. Remember Sarah? The Lord said, "Rejoice with me. This time next year you're going to have a son." She laughed. Me in this old age? She didn't know the Lord heard her. Why do you laugh, Sarah? Is there anything too small for the Lord? Is there anything impossible for God? Why do you laugh? Sarah says, "I didn't laugh. I didn't laugh." The Lord said to Sarah, "Name the boy Isaac." Laughter. Because you laughed. When I fulfill my promise, you would name that boy Laughter, to always remember, even though you doubted me, I loved you. Just as though you were my wife. First sign of salvation. Laughter. Rejoice with me. Be happy with me. Sometimes people are called on a mission, like Joseph. Sent on a mission to a foreign land, Egypt. Place of an unknown. For a while he's a slave, for a while he's a prisoner. Rejoice with me. When people finally began to rejoice with Joseph, after he interprets the dream with Pharaoh, everybody began to give money. And Joseph, being wise and filled with the Holy Spirit, used that money for the needs of all, redistributing it back to their needs. Not a take kind of an organization, but one that took for the specific reason to supply for the well-being of the needs of its own members, of its own people. And God blessing them so greatly, they had enough to not only bless their own people, but all the people of the known world. I know I'm on a mission. I'm on a mission to go to the Philippines. To do something good. Be a part of something good. Building a church for God. And I'll tell you, there's a few ways you could help be a part of that. Like Joseph. You could push the like button, you could subscribe to my channel, and you could donate. Because we need some financial help. My work, my job is a full-time online pastor and preacher, and I'm asking you for a little help. Rejoice with me. If you could just help us get started, God will take care of the rest. And why do I ask you? Because I know God lives in you. I know God is with you. And I know that the church of God has been created to heal you, to restore you, to refresh you. Heal your broken heart, your broken soul, broken lives. Give you sight, ability to see outside of your own bubble. Recognizing and understand once you climb out of your bubble, God comes with you. God is the light that shines forth from you. It is the Spirit of God that's generous, always seeking and desiring to do what is right. Always seeking and desiring to rain out love in places where love is deserved to be. Sometimes we forget the greatest gift of all isn't money, isn't gold, isn't stuff, isn't things. The greatest gift of all is an encouraging word. The greatest gift of all is not only being told you're loved, but having somebody with the fortitude to back up their words with action. Love is an action. Rejoice with me. Rejoice in my calling. Instead of finding a way or desire to call me a beggar, we're all broken, we're all poor. And I'm sure we all want to do something good for our communities, our world. I want to go to the Philippines and do something good for somebody who deserves to receive that good. I want to love Katu in the same way Jesus Christ loves his church. And I already do. That's the thing, is church doesn't consist of many, many thousands of members. That doesn't make a church great. You know what makes a church great? Is its ability to love one another. Its ability to be there for one another in dark times. It's its ability to endure angry moments. Moments of disappointment. Moments of where there is patience is involved. Where we're asked to endure patience. Things that aren't going our way yet. Not allowing those things to deter us from loving each other. Knowing that love is the greatest of all. And I hope my wife Katu comes to see and understand. I am most happy when I tell her every day how beautiful she is. Because it's the God's honest truth. And I'm happy. Rejoice with me. Because I see you for who you really are. Wonderful. Fearfully. Beautifully made in the image of God. Flesh of my flesh. Bone of my bone. Blood of my blood. I love and cherish you, Katu. I hope our love for each other makes other people jealous. Creates in them a desire to want to be like us. So I love you always. Thank you, my friend Jack, for being my friend. Being true to who you are. Being a good guy. And thank you, Daniel Moore, for finding something good in me. And thank you, FF Prime, taking the time to share the Bible with me. And I thank you, Mother, for trusting me. Nobody else would. Thank you all for saying, Dave, you're worthy of my time. Thank you. Thank you. Rejoice with me as I seek to rejoice with you. See you next time.